Okay, this is going to be a quick video tutorial on how to duplicate and flip a part of your rig in Harmony. So right here I have a relatively simple iRig that you can see right here. This is something I call using like the drawbridge technique, where I'm using kind of the same color for the eyelid and the behind the eye, and so about as simple as an iRig can get right here. And I have things set up at this point. And so what I want to do now is just duplicate it with the whole deformers, all the drawing layers intact. And so there's a few steps that you need to follow in this order in order to do this. So let's get started. So first thing I need to do is I have my rig on this side of the eye totally ready to go. I don't notice that I don't have any animation on any of these pegs. That's going to be important. And so just make sure that this is set up correctly. And so here I'm going to drag and select that entire section. So again, just drag and select like this to get my whole node network. And notice too, I'm sorry, that I'm just kind of using these composite nodes just to kind of visually organize things, so that I have another iRig sitting over here, and you can tell this turned red, so it's kind of disabled right there. And I just have these composite nodes right there just to kind of separate it out. If you, the reason I'm doing that is just so everything isn't plugged into this composite node right here, and just kind of keeping things visually organized. If you want to do that, you can just click return, search for composite, and that'll create a composite node, and then you just plug things into it, and it'll help you with that. Okay, so I have this. I'm just going to drag and select the whole region, and then I'm on a Mac, so I'll press Command. If you're on a PC, you'll press Control. So Command or Control, and then G for group. And what that does is a group just, it creates something that looks like this. And the way a group works is it's just grouping your stuff together. And if I click on this arrow, this on the right, it'll bring me back into those nodes. None of the nodes are affected. They're just kind of tucked away. And whenever you're looking at a group, you'll see this multi-port in at the top, multi-port out at the bottom. And to get out of the group, you're going to click this arrow right here, and then you're back to where you were. And so just be sure to name this. So I'm going to click on the yellow box, and I'm going to call this front eye group, and close that out. And again, make sure there's no animation on any of your pegs or anything like that. And so next step, so step 2, is on this group, I'm going to press Command or Control and then P for peg. That's going to create a peg for this. And with this peg, we can click on the yellow box and just change this to separate. I'll go ahead and click on this button to change the anchor point, and then I'll just move it over here. And again, changing the anchor points for pegs is you're clicking on that button, and then you just click on the center to move it. If I click out here, it'll rotate the peg, so just be sure not to do that, and I'll click off of that. All right, and so now we kind of have our infrastructure in place, and so now it's time to duplicate this over to the other side, and it's really important that you do this exactly the same way that I'm doing it here. So we've kind of gone through 2 steps, now we're on step 3. So I can't just press Control-C, Control-V for this group, or else whenever I move the front or the left eye, the right eye will move in the exact same way, and you really don't want that. So we have to kind of copy and paste this a special way. So I'm clicking on that group. You're looking for this 3-line button. I'm going to go down to View, and then, oh, I'm sorry, not View. I'm going to go down to Nodes, and then Clone Selected Nodes Drawings Only. All right, and so that's going to create essentially a duplicate of the group that doesn't transfer the animation properties over, which is great. So again, it's this button, Nodes, and then Clone Selected Drawings Only. And I'm going to rename this, so just click on this yellow box, and I'm going to call this B for back eye, and delete that, close. So we have our group, and I'll go ahead and plug this into the composite. So I just click on this little box, drag it down to the composite, let go. In the future, don't copy and paste pegs. If there's animation on the pegs, that'll particularly cause problems for you. But so what you can do is I can just click on this peg, and then for this peg, I'll do the Control-C, Control-V, normal copy paste, right? So this peg, Control-C, over here, Control-V. And same thing, I'm going to rename it. So this will just be back eye. and I'll plug this into the group. And so again, normally don't control paste, copy and paste pegs, but this is just one instance where we're going to do that. All right, and so we just have a few more nodes we're going to need to build up on this, and you're going to need to follow, again, you'll need to follow these steps in the same order I'm doing in order to have this work successfully. So on top of this peg, I'm going to add what's called a static transformation node. And so to do that, I'm just going to click in this empty space, click return or enter, and then we're looking for a static transformation. So I'll click that, and I'm just going to plug this into the top. And we'll get back to this node in just a moment, but we just need to add one more thing, which is a peg on the top that we're going to use to help kind of transform this and flip it over to the other side, and then we'll delete it when we're done with it. So I have this static transformation node selected. I'm going to press Command or Control and then P for peg. And I have this node. I'm not going to really even mess with it in terms of changing the settings. And what we're going to do now is with this top peg selected, I'm going to go down to this transform tool, so not this top one, but this transform tool. And under tool properties, I'm looking for the flip horizontal button. So if I click the flip horizontal button, so we now have this flipped across. All right, so that's the next step. We're not done yet though. And so now under the next step is under static transformation. I'm going to click on this yellow box. And so again, static transformation, clicked on the yellow box, got this pop-up menu, and you're going to click on this button. It's called Bake Immediate Parents Transformation. I'll click on that. All right, and so this is normal. Your drawing should kind of disappear. It kind of flips back to the other side. And so there's just only one more step, which is remember this peg that's at the top. We're now going to click on that peg and then delete it, and now we're back in business here. And yeah, that's pretty much all the steps. And so from here, you can see I can still click on this first peg and change that, and I'll leave this changed just like this, for instance. And then on this peg over here, in order to make changes to the pupil or this eyelash, I need to click on this button to get into the group and expand it back out. But then from here, I can click on my pupil, move that around, and you can notice that you can move the eyes around it independently of one another.